Hello, you're watching Proactive London. I'm joined by Harry Adams, Executive Chairman of KEFI Gold and Copper. Harry, you're up with your 2023 results, and it looks like a year of progress across your projects in Ethiopia and Saudi Arabia.
Well, it is. I know projects in the mining industry take many years to bring to fruition, but it is quite remarkable, really. And I'm sure we'll look back on this year and be quite amazed how many things we brought to fruition. That's the way I see it. We have the Ethiopian project, which is the banks, both banks, contractors, and local investors lining up for the signing. And we have mobilized into the community to prepare the community. So that's looking fine. And in Saudi Arabia, they're not as advanced, but we are the only people who've made discoveries in that jurisdiction, which is now arguably the hottest for mining in the world, in terms of investors and explorers turning up to try to get involved. So I think we're very well positioned. You know, we have to execute, we have to complete and launch and all those things. We all know that, but it is quite a remarkable juxtaposition, and I think it's sort of the fruit of all these years of hard work and patience from shareholders as well.
So going back to Ethiopia, early works on Tulu Kapi are in progress, and that's so you can close the $320 million project finance. And you do say in the commentary that this is the first industrial scale mining project and also the largest export generator for the country.
Yes, it's difficult to overstate the importance to the country because, you know, Ethiopia, the only country in Africa that's never been colonized, the base for the African Union, up until a few years ago, 20 years running in the top 10 growth countries of the world. Africa's largest hydro scheme just started up there. So a long history of achievement, a very proud people, and the country really shot itself in the foot a few years ago with an internal conflict resulting from the introduction of democratic reform, ironically. And that shooting itself in the foot did a lot of damage economically and socially. And therefore, the trade imbalance is huge, and generating exports is really a top priority, and generating employment in the regions is a high priority. So our project really fits that bill directly, the two highest priorities for the government to repair the economy and to repair society.
Take us moving across to Saudi Arabia. Take us through the progress you're making there with your partner and also with the banks in that country.
Well, in Saudi, how would I put it? Whilst in Ethiopia, we sort of had to invent international capital mobility. In Ethiopia, we'd had to invent rules and negotiate rules and regulatory reform to allow international finance. We had to invent a whole range of things that were new for the country. In Saudi, frankly, it was just a matter of the government deciding that mining was a priority because it already has an open capital market. It already has international business dealings, you know, particularly in the oil and gas game. It already has lots of foreigners working in the country quite for a long time. But all that had to happen there was that the country needed to decide that mining was a priority. Now, we were ahead of the pack in a sense because we were approached by one of the large family offices because of the skills of our technical people and the way they saw that we were conducting ourselves in other countries. So we've been there 15 years as a result of being approached by a very strong local family that wanted to get into the mining game well ahead of the rest, if you like. And therefore, as a result of that, we've been there 15 years. We have a strong relationship. We've been on the ground 15 years. We've made 2 discoveries. We've got a pipeline of 14 other licenses that we're exploring. And therefore, in terms of a relationship on the equity side, it's 15 years old already. We don't have to create it. And in terms of a relationship on the banking side, you don't need to bring development banks to the country like we had to in Ethiopia. The sovereign fund itself has a development bank, which has been, in effect, instructed to prioritize mining. So the country itself is providing the capital, and the country itself provided the welcome carpet for us a long time ago. So it did hold us up because the regulations made it very difficult to get going. But as soon as that changed, it was game on, if you like. And you don't need to do all the things we had to do in Ethiopia to get it to function. It's already functioning in that way.
Harry, you're also looking at potential dual listings in both Ethiopia and Saudi Arabia. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, ironically, it's going faster in Ethiopia, and the reason for that is the Ethiopians have prioritized it and are acting on it. The largest public raising, well, the first major public raising will take place in the next month or two, and it will be of the telecom, the Ethiotel, an offering to some 80 or 100 million people, basically everyone who's got an Ethiopian mobile phone. And it'll be offered to all of those people as part of the launch by the Ethiopian Capital Markets Authority of the various new innovations. We actually are looking to become the first in the mining space and not too far behind that. Not that we're going out offering to millions of people or anything, but we've been encouraged to, help set up a mining space in the stock market, which will launch later in the year, but we're getting going with our raisings to close this deal, as you know, and the stock market can come later in the year. So Ethiopia has been quite innovative and opening its doors to capital reform and stock markets and so on. And we've been asked to help facilitate that. We've taken, nomads down from London to take them all through it. And, we've put a lot of work in over the last couple of years with the authorities to help prepare for this. And it's forming a role, and it looks like we'll be doing a little bit of equity in one of the group companies and a little bit of unsecured bonds in one of the group companies, which will be good for the country, but also fit into our project funding structure as we've outlined it to shareholders. It just slots into the way we've described it to shareholders to date. So it's innovative locally, but standard practice internationally, if you like. That's the Ethiopian side. The Saudi side, it's going to take longer in a sense because they're not really ready for pre-production companies. They're keen to open up the sector to listed stocks. They're keen to admit explorers, developers, R&D firms, biotech firms, but they've never done it. And it's a more conservative approach to the timetable. Whereas in Ethiopia, when Ethiopians go, they really do go. When Ethiopia wanted to create an airline, they created Africa's leading airline in short order. When they wanted to create a flower industry, they created, I think, the number 2 or 3 flower exporter in the world in short order. So they're actually going for the mining space now and to set up a more open capital markets, and we're swept up in all of that and doing our best to contribute to it.
Harry, I hope you'll keep us posted on any progress on both of those fronts. Thank you very much for the update today.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Harry Adams is Executive Chairman of KEFI Gold and Copper.